That is Cray Productions presents the story of a man who refused to take responsibility for his own actions and who made the target of his search for answers a scapegoat. And in this, he held hatred. He truly made this target, this scapegoat, unforgiven. And in this, his search for answers and his desperate desire to find the truth the wrong way. This in itself has warped this man in this story. And in this story, the one in whom he sought, in whom he truly held unforgiven in his heart, he finds out he himself has become a monster. But he must be careful. There's two sayings that go with this. One is, he who searches for monsters becomes one. However, I'm going to add one myself. The second saying. Sometimes when you look for monsters, you find them. Thus I present to you, Unforgiven. The air is freezing cold. It's also late at night. The wind is horrific. That makes it even worse for Jake Brogan. He sits in his car, watching from the large rise of land across, literally above the beach, of the property, the oceanfront property in which he is casing out. He's been doing this for roughly 2 weeks, watching the two occupants, as well as their habits, and they seem to pretty much definitely be creatures of habits. That actually makes things easier for him. He laughs bitterly to himself. He should have done this a long time ago. The little bastard who was responsible for him being in prison for 3 hard, vicious years. That in itself is something he cannot let go. The kid he's not much to look at. Maybe 5'8", if that. Compared to his own imposing 6'4". He knows this will be, for the most part, easy enough to do. The woman, she was something else. Tall enough to actually look him personally in the eye. She would have had to at least be a good 6 foot, maybe 6'1". A little thin, but definitely someone he could never even get a hold of, even during his time on the force when he was respected and well liked. The fact is, he'd been in his prime back then. Now, not quite so much. But he knows for a fact he'll be able to take care of this little bastard. This little bastard he's been following for, 12, 11, maybe even 13 years. He's lost count. But he knows for one thing. He'll be able to get his revenge, finally, on the one who has ruined his life for so long. The case in which a young boy had vanished, a child actually, just vanished, and a family of 3 had been torn asunder. The former cop checks his gear. He's going to do this up close and personal. He's had access to other equipment, but no. He wants this to be face-to-face. He knows for a fact he can take this little shit out without too much of a hitch. So therefore, he has to get himself moving. The woman has been gone for at least 3 to 4 days. He doesn't know if this woman is the kid's sugar mama or vice versa. It ain't mattering to him. He's been watching. The young man, in the past, when he was staking them out, he would notice the redhead and this young man taking walks on the beach, being very much in love. That thought makes him sick. His own wife had run out on him, due to his own deception. He cannot see it. He's that blind. He makes sure he has his equipment, a knife, and a derringer. Like I said, he's going to make this very personal and very much up close. He makes sure that the alarm system is disabled. It's easy enough, especially with a man of his background. He cuts the power quick enough. That's even easier to do. Once everything is said and done, he had thought about trying to draw the kid in. But in the end, what good would that be? He doesn't know if the young man has firearms or not. It's a possibility. But in the end, one with his kind of knowledge, well, again, he himself is armed. He's cased this entire area out. And the kid hasn't come out of his home, so drawing him out is not going to be an option. That's fine with him. He cracks his knuckles and ascends the stairway. Because there are two entrances into the house. One in the front and one in the back. He himself has actually decided to take the one through the back. It's easy enough to pick the lock and get inside. He looks around with a flashlight in his hands. He sees a fire burning upstairs. Obviously a fireplace. He shines the light on the young man. The property is it's not sprawling like a mansion, but this is a very high dollar area of this property. It's a big, massive house, I'm trying to say, on high stilts, like you have to have in Galveston. That's pretty much the legal. If you're going to live on in front of the ocean, that's basically legally the way you have to have your home. So, suffice to say, doing all this, it was a little bit of a workout, but he was able to do it. He shines his flashlight on the young man who's sitting very calmly right in front of a fireplace. All right, boy, it's been long enough. I've chased you for too fucking long. Now, turn around before I put a bullet in your head. I want you to see what's coming to you. The young man says nothing. He turns around very calmly and stabs forth with a fire poker, stabbing it into the man's shoulder. The man screams in agony, and the confrontation truly begins. There are two things that happen. Number one, due to the young man, whose name is David, being left-handed, the force of the poker ripping into Jake's flesh sends the bigger man careening back to literally fall to the ground. However, the gun goes off, striking the young man, also center mass. It literally rips through his body, striking him in the stomach and exiting out his back. Luckily for him, it was a .22. Had this been a larger caliber of weapon, it would have killed him completely. Normally a .22 will ricochet. Maybe it was the hand of God or something else that had his back. But either way, the hand of fate does not take his life. However, he does fall into a heap, coughing up blood. And with this, he sees darkness. David awakens slowly. The pain in his guts is indescribable. He also realizes he's sitting in a chair, bound. Wakey, wakey, boy. He did a number on me. Jesus Christ. I'll give you that. We'll have to have a doctor to take this thing out of me. You got balls, I'll give you that. But that's not exactly going to be enough to keep you around, if you get my drift. What do you want with me? Haven't you done enough? No, you little bastard. It'll never be enough. Not until I send you screaming to hell for the whatever thing you call out of the pit, which I know killed your parents and your sister. You know, I hear them all the time. I hear them calling to me. You know, it's crazy, but I guess seeing what I saw, how long has it been? 12, 13 years at least? Hell, I've lost count myself. Something like that kind of tends to happen when you're locked up for 3 years in fucking prison. You deserved worse. But of course, a self-righteous little hypocrite like you would say that, wouldn't they? Well, you know, I kind of wish that redheaded broad I saw you living with in this place. What is she, your sugar mama or something? Whatever the case, I don't care. Part of me wishes I could have put a bullet in her eyes before I killed you. Be the last thing you ever saw. But I'm not too red on killing broads. I never really have been. Never had to. Not sure I would really regret it if I did, but kind of rambling here and there, you know, it doesn't really matter. What does matter, though, is it's not right. You get to have a nice, cozy life while mine was destroyed. It was by your actions, not mine. By your actions, not mine. Yeah, you'd say that. Maybe it is my fault. But in the end, like I said, I'm finally gonna get you where you belong. And that's screaming in hell. Finally, justice is going to be freaking done. And even if I don't walk out of here, I'll at least have what's coming to me. And that, not just for them, but for me. Justice. David laughs bitterly. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You never did. Had you just left things alone, then you wouldn't be where you are now. What's that supposed to mean? Last time I checked, you're the one shot in the guts, about to be shot in the head, and, well, me, like I said, I look a little rough right now. I sure as hell feel it, but once I get this thing out of me, I believe in the high life. Plan on burning this place to the ground. Like I said, you talk too much. Shut the fuck up. You know, I don't know what the hell it is that you got going on, you know, that some real good looking broad like that would want a monster like you. Does she even know what you are? Does she know anything? She knows everything. That makes her as big a monster as you, if not worse. But you're doing something right that's got her attention. We're going to take care of that problem right here and now. The man kicks him as hard as he can, right between the legs, in the groin. The boy screams as if shot as he falls out of the chair, because, true, he'd been tied. But he had not necessarily been tied to the chair. He had simply been bound. And that means, what I mean by that is in handcuffs and rope. He falls out of the chair, gagging, almost blacking out from his pain. Well, boy, what can I tell you? You're damaged goods. Well, let's go ahead and make sure you don't kill any more people. But it's at that moment, but before he can fire the final shot, that he realizes he's not alone. When he realizes that he has company, or I should say, both he and the boy have company, he also looks outside, through the window. He sees the lights to, the headlights of a vehicle. This is a problem. However, before he can actually fire the round that was meant to go between the boy's eyes, he finds himself petrified for some reason. This doesn't make sense. It brings back a very bad time for him. Jake is literally brought back to those years in Houston, Texas, when he had just started becoming a detective. He had just made the brass. He was living high on the hog. Those memories come back to him. That sensation that he had gotten, the temperature in the room dropping to almost uncomfortable levels. Of course, it's the middle of the winter, so you're going to have that anyway, but this is beyond the norm. The fire, which is still actually burning in the fireplace, goes out. That is not normal. It should not be happening. This place is sealed up like Fort Knox. No wind, no nothing should be coming into this place. What the hell's going on? Who the hell is that? David simply says nothing, looking at him from the floor defiantly. It's at that moment that there is a blur. Jake isn't stupid. He quickly basically pulls around with the gun in his, of course, left hand, the only one that he can use. He tries to actually fire a couple of rounds, squeezing off a couple of shots. In panic. However, he simply saw a blur. That's all he saw. A blur of movement. Something vaguely humanoid shaped, but it was moving so fast he could not get a lock on it or even respond. The gun is literally snatched out of his hands, and he himself is grabbed by the throat. And in the process of the gun being snatched, he felt his left hand break from the force in which he had been pulled away from him. Two of his fingers had literally been twisted so hard that they broke, almost off of his hand. That is some pretty scary superhuman speed and strength right there. The man tries to resist with all of his pretty impressive strength. He's a big guy, like I said. But whoever has him by the throat has lifted him at least a good foot, maybe more, off the ground. And with this, He hears the gun clatter to the floor. He sends out a vicious punch as he realizes the woman who is holding him, she's no longer moving with inhuman speed. It's the redhead in which he'd been watching before. What the hell? Let me go, you bitch! He snarls. She simply smirks as she takes the punch that had sent her way. He punches her literally in the face. It's like hitting a brick wall. He feels two of his other fingers break from the force in which he had thrown the punch. Her nails, those long nails, dig deeper into the flesh of his neck, cutting into his skin, drawing blood. He sees the woman's green eyes turn black for a moment, and then crimson, and then back to their normal tone. He yells again, "What are you? Let me go!" And with this, she smirks, her full lips showing no small amount of very cruel amusement, as then her right hand rips through his pants, between his legs. He feels a stabbing pain of nails ripping into his groin, and then nothing. He awakens slowly. The pain in which he had been in when she had literally ripped everything that made him a man away from him. Literally unmanning, if you get my drift. I'm just going to leave the imagination to you on that. Once that had been done, the pain had blacked him out. However, he realizes, once he's awake, that he is in a very dark room. Where he has no clue. But there is no light. None. His hands have been bound, and he is hanging on what seems to be a hook of some sort, well off the ground, his hands above his head. He tries to get a good footing on the ground, maybe get into a standing position, but of course he's hanging well off the ground. That's not happening. The pain is excruciating. The pain, of course, between his legs is still there, but he also realizes, as I said, he should have bled out. That hasn't happened. Took you long enough to wake up? A very soft voice sounds out through the darkness. The man opens his eyes, and he realizes the room is no longer in pitch black. There's candles, and as well as a torch or two, lighting the place up like the 4th of July. He looks around. He's halfway expecting to see a bunch of interrogation equipment or torture devices. Nope. He's just hanging up on what he guessed right. He's definitely on a large hook that's attached to the ceiling. The hook itself is not on a chain. It's literally on a large beam, again, like I said, that goes to the ceiling. The room, he realizes, is soundproofed. He looks around to the source of the voice in which he had heard. She sounds beautiful. Everybody as beautiful as he had saw her before she had quite literally removed his manhood for his troubles. "What? The last thing you're ever going to see," she says softly. "I want you to know one thing." "What's that, you bitch? You fucking castrated me!" he snarls. "I unmanned you. That is correct. But then, of course, you were never much of a man to begin with." Like that, he's much more of a man than you will ever imagine. Then, of course, I have you to thank for that. The hell you put him through. Chasing him like you have. He already had been through so much. You definitely helped make him a man. But in the end, what can I tell you? You're the one who's damaged goods. Fuck you. Not in a million years, she says, smirking. Even if you were definitely in front of me right now and we did not have any of the animosity that is between us, the only thing that you would be is on the menu, if you get me drift. So you're freaking one of the brides of Dracula? What are you? I'm a vampire, yes. At least that is what they would definitely call one of my kind. I am indeed as human as a doornail. This place, this room, I've had it, hell, this entire house, I've had it for at least a good 15, 20 years. Long before me David came into the picture. I want you to know he's going to be fine. It took a lot of me energy to heal him. A lot. Especially from the way you shot him, like the coward you are. You're nothing but a cockroach. And I should send you screaming to hell as you told him so pointedly right here and now. So why aren't you? Because I want answers. And I also see that maybe at one time you were not the monster. That you were definitely acting as now. Are you? Or were you? He's the one that started all this, he says. He's the one that... He did nothing of the sort. Maybe that's the reason I'm going to give you a chance. You freaking ripped my... She shrugs lightly, as if saying, take it or leave it, this is the only chance I'm going to give you. What kind of chance? He asks. Simple. I'm going to give you answers, and maybe I can get some from you. It's a way to pass the time, because David is not going to be doing much of anything but sleeping for the next few days, thanks to what you did to him. And a woman like me gets bored easily. And also at the same time, maybe something inside of me. Maybe something in me. I feel some empathy for you, even though I shouldn't. I'm going to give you this one chance. Take it or leave it. You're going to die either way. I want you to know that. It's taken no small amount of effort for me to make sure you do not bleed out from what I did to you. Make it worth me time. Or I feed from what's left of you. He ponders his options. He wants to tell this woman to go screw herself. But his pride is pushed aside more by intrigue, despite the horrific pain he's in. He narrows his eyes. You're claiming that I made a mistake. Fine. You give me the I'll tell you what you want to know. But you explain to me what the hell really happened. You deserve nothing, she snarls at him. I am choosing to do this for you. You're one egotistical bitch, I'll tell you that. She shrugs. I've been called worse by better men. Yea or nay, what's it going to be? Fine. She nods slowly. And with this, she pulls up a large chair and sits it under him. I do not think you'll be very comfortable trussed up like this. I planned on doing a lot worse, but I want you to know one thing. You try anything, you will die badly. And I will make it last for hours before you finally die. Am I clear? He narrows his gaze. He ponders trying to attack her, but he realizes he can't move. Like I told you, dealing with you is costing a lot of energy for me. Don't do anything stupid. You're not going to do that, are you? He realizes the jig is up. He also realizes some of the pain between his legs is gone. He nods slowly. Sure enough, she unhooks him from the chain, from the large rod and the hook. And she actually, very calmly, crushes. With this one simple jerk of her hand, she crushes, or pulls apart, the cuffs in which have been holding him aloft. He sat down in the chair, gently. And with this, she says to him, I want you to tell me what happened. There are certain things me David will not talk of. I'm going to get those answers from you to help me understand what the hell has been going on for so long. When I found him, it was in a much different state that he was in when you found his situation. I'll give you the answers that you seek, but you have to work with me on this. Are you willing to? David calmly speaks for a moment. Yeah, I will. You damn cunt. She shrugs. Sticks and stones, Mr. Brogan, sticks and stones. You got a light? He asks her. That is something she can definitely help out with. She calmly fishes out of her purse a long menthol cigarette. She lights it for him. I'm pretty sure menthols are not your thing, but, well, you're kind of on the short end of the stick, literally in this case, she says, smirking. She's obviously rubbing this in his face, and she's enjoying every bit of it. And of course, when it came to Mirrodin Triculos, she's always been one that lives on her own terms. She loves hard and lives harder. Jake nods slowly. Thanks. She pulls it away from him because he's in no shape to really do anything on his own right now. And thus, he begins his experience, letting her know the things she desires to know. Now, thank you, dear listener, for listening to the story. This is only the first part. Many more of this revised edition are going to come out. The reason I'm doing this is because the feedback I got was actually a lot more than I anticipated. And it filled me with a desire to breathe new life or blood, pun intended, into this story. It's going to be a lot more streamlined, as you've seen, and a lot less profanity. Unfortunately, Jake has become a very warped man, so there's going to be some. That's just how it is with a man who has the damaged mindset that he possesses. Expect more over the next few weeks, and I have not forgotten those of you who want to hear about Werewolf Hunter. That one is definitely in the works as well. It's just going to take a little more time. Now, moving forward, you guys know that I'm the producer for 3 shows. Dogman Cams mainly, of course, as well as The Vault of Nightmares and Chasing the Truth. Those who listen already know what I do. John, who is the host for the Dogman Cams, is always seeking people who've had cryptid experiences. Sean Graham, of course, is always seeking those who have had mainly supernatural or paranormal experiences. He's the host of Chasing the Truth. Sometimes a cryptid every now and then. However, Vault of Nightmares, which is hosted by, of course, Vault himself, the Vault Keeper. He's an awesome guy, but anyway, I'm gonna let you know right now, he's always seeking a little bit of the above, whether it be Dogman, Bigfoot, your ex-girlfriend, or my ex-girlfriend, or big, Mothman, or any kind of supernatural type of affairs, paranormal, UFOs, you name it, he does all of it. Hit me up, and I'll be glad to get you on those shows. My email is wesvic@dogmancams.com. I repeat, wesvic@dogmancams.com. You guys know who I am, what I do, and I definitely plan on releasing more of this story. Be blessed and be safe.